Lana Turner was one of the most enigmatic and iconic actresses of all time. The star of films like The Postman Always Rings Twice, Peyton's Place, and The Bad and the Beautiful took the world by storm. In a 50-plus year career, she developed from a pinup model into true Hollywood royalty. However, her story was much more than what we see on screen. Lana Turner's life was full of romantic misadventures, interesting bits of trivia, and dark details. She was even involved in a murder investigation. Keep watching as Facts First takes a closer look at some head-turning stories about Lana Turner. Turner's father was murdered while she was young. Before she was an icon and before she was even named Lana Turner, she experienced tragedy at a young age. When she was 9 years old, Julia Jean Turner's father was murdered. Her father, Virgil M. Turner, was a small-time criminal. He had a history with bootlegging and confidence schemes throughout the early 1900s. In 1921, Virgil Turner won the pot in a traveling craps game in San Francisco. He reportedly hid the money in his sock. On his way home, he was beaten to death in the street, and his sock and loot were missing. His murder was never solved. His death had a profound effect on the young Lana Turner. She claimed the tragedy was always in her mind, and the early loss led to her growing up too fast. Talent discovered while playing hooky. Like many high schoolers, Lana would cut classes periodically. One day she played hooky and went across the street to hang out at the Top Hat Malt Shop. Also in the neighborhood was William Wilkerson, the publisher of The Hollywood Reporter. He took notice of Turner's pep and charm. In his eye, a star was born. He approached Lana and asked her if she wanted to be in the movies. Turner's response is among the famous Hollywood origin stories. To his question, she answered, "I don't know. I'll have to ask my mother." This is a funny anecdote for the 16-year-old, but it's also the start of one of Hollywood's biggest movie stars. All this because Lana Turner decided to cut class one day. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like. And subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. And stick around for some more interesting stories and dark details in Lana Turner's life. The film industry's sweater girl. Lana's debut role was in Mervyn LeRoy's 1937 legal drama, They Won't Forget. In the film, Turner wore an outfit highlighted by a form-fitting sweater. Though it was a small part, publicist Irving Fine noticed her upstart talent and labeled her the Sweater Girl. The nickname took off and defined Lana's early career. However, Turner revealed to her daughter years later she actually hated the moniker. Apparently, she was very embarrassed by the way she looked in the film. According to her daughter, it took Turner a long time to get over this part. Although she was the first to be called the Sweater Girl, she wouldn't be the last. Jane Mansfield and Jane Russell also earned this nickname in their careers. Lana Turner was married 8 times. Lana had many public romances off-screen. She was married a staggering 8 times, though it was only to 7 different men. Some of these marriages were rather spontaneous. The first in the bunch was Artie Shaw. Shaw was a band leader and also Turner's co-star in the 1939 film Dancing Co-ed. The pair eloped in Las Vegas after only their first date. The marriage lasted 4 months. After the divorce, Turner discovered she was pregnant. She had a studio-orchestrated abortion. Another noteworthy miscarriage was her second to Steve Crane. The two got married in 1942. However, it came to light that Crane was not divorced from his current wife. The marriage was annulled. A year later, they made it official, getting married a second time. With Crane, Turner had her only child, Cheryl Crane. The studio with which she had a contract thought her behavior was excessively impulsive. Famous affairs. Beyond her marriages, Lana Turner also had some notable romantic escapades. She was rumored to have had affairs with many of Hollywood's leading names. Some of her conquests were Howard Hughes and Frank Sinatra. But the most famous on the list was Clark Gable. The pair worked on many films together in the 40s, including Somewhere I'll Find You, Homecoming, and Any Number Can Play. At the time of the alleged affair, Gable was married to actress Carole Lombard. Author Robert Mattson speculated in his book that Gable and Lombard were fighting about the affair with Turner. Because of this, Lombard boarded an earlier flight to return to Gable. Unfortunately, this flight was doomed, and Lombard died in the crash. Lana Turner taught James Bond a lesson. In 2016, Roger Moore, the second James Bond actor, was looking back on his career. One story that stood out was the time Lana Turner gave him some tips on how to kiss properly. The two worked together on the 1956 movie Diane. When it came time for their kissing scene, Turner was terrified of Moore's zeal. She claimed he had too much passion followed by too much pressure. Her advice was that any woman over the age of 35 has to take care of their neck. Instead of all that pressure, she showed Roger Moore how to kiss gently. Moore said his wife surely noticed the difference. It was also a tip he probably used on many of his James Bond films. The Johnny Stompanato tragedy. Turner was a femme fatale on screen, and it seems some of this behavior rubbed off on her love life away from the camera. In the late 50s, Turner became involved with the known mafia heavy Johnny Stompanato. Stompanato was a longtime player under organized crime leader Mickey Cohen. Quickly in their relationship, Johnny Stomp was abusive towards Turner. One night in 1958, he was particularly vile. He threatened to cut Lana's face to ruin her career and promised to hurt Cheryl Crane, her daughter. Turner was petrified. Afraid for her mother's and her own safety, 14-year-old Cheryl stabbed Stompanato with a kitchen knife. Upon investigation, the act was ruled as justifiable homicide. But the mess wasn't over. Turner's life was criticized by savage media members. Cohen leaked the love letter between Turner and Stomp to the press, embarrassing her further. Cheryl became a ward of the state after the event and had to live with her grandmother. As scandals go, there was much speculation. For example, Stompanato's son suggested Turner killed him and had her daughter take the blame. This was deeply scarring in Turner's life and became one of the biggest Hollywood scandals in history. True life in film. Naturally, the Stompanato affair caused a major rift in Lana Turner's family, but her relationship with her daughter took another blow. Shortly after that scandal, Ross Hunter, the producer of Douglas Sirk's upcoming film Imitation of Life, approached Lana about the lead role. The film would depict an actress in the waning years of her career. The character was also working on a troubled relationship with her daughter. It's pretty clear why they wanted Turner. It sounds as if it was a biopic written about her. Turner was initially hesitant because the plot struck too close to home. After insistence and a profit share offer, she accepted. Though the 1959 film was a critical darling, it had the effect Turner feared. Her daughter Cheryl found the film difficult to sit through. Indeed, she believed it to be semi-biographical. It hurt the relationship between mother and daughter. Though this was the case, Imitation of Life is regarded as one of Lana Turner's all-time best roles. Now it's time to hear from you. What is Lana Turner's best role? Was the original Sweater Girl an all-time great actress? Let us know in the comment section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.